here's one of the most difficult things about writing revolutionary literature is that when you write revolutionary literature, you begin to realize that like conservative literature might be the more revolutionary one. And because of that, you realize that other quote unquote revolutionary literature uh, is just kind of crazy. So one of the principal, like one of the biggest disputes that we have, right, is this idea of women's work. Okay, this idea that, like, say, housework is it good? Now, as a person who has a house, I'm thinking to myself, I could use a housekeeper. And if, for instance, imagine being a woman. If you're just a housekeeper, you're the principal housekeeper, not the exclusive housekeeper, the principal housekeeper, which means that you also can hire help, right? Um, but you're the principal housekeeper. It means you also um, get a not a wage, but an allowance. Okay, an allowance you can exceed. You also have a retirement plan. You have you have high status in the family. You pretty much can cook and eat whatever you please. Um, Season food, however, to your liking, to your extreme, what have you. My point being that as a as a housekeeper, right, as a principal housekeeper, is that really so bad for a woman's work, right? But here's where it becomes troubling because when you say something like women's work, you immediately turn off the quote unquote other revolutionaries. But is it, but it kind of parallels the whole transgender debate, and that is also considered revolutionary to some people. So it really begs the question: what does revolution mean? But and it doesn't really beg the question. It's just that you'll run into that. But here's why I'm taking an interest in this, right? So when I was in middle school, yeah, going back to middle school, maybe even high school, I don't know, but let's say middle school, I had to read this book by John Steinbeck. Now I'm not sure which one it is. I know he wrote East of Eden, but there might have been another one. But I think it was East of Eden, where essentially it's some quasi biblical story and quasi whatever. But what happens in the story is some evil woman and blah blah blah. But eventually there's this servant, right? There's this male servant who's an intellectual. Now, as far as I remember, because again, I was in high school, middle school, so maybe he wasn't intellectual, I don't know. But let's say he's an intellectual, and somebody asked him, why are you, if you're so intelligent, you're so smart, why are you just a servant? And he's like, look, I got everything paid for. All I got to do is clean every once in a while. And life's pretty good. I could read whenever I want. I could, write whenever I want. I could do whatever I want. All I got to do is clean. Um, which is just basic shit, really. Right? Like I said, sometimes you say, hey, do I want a housekeeper? People say, well, that's just lazy, but really, no, you have a freaking house and maybe you don't want to clean it. And maybe somebody else doesn't mind just cleaning. I say all this to say, what if the idea is really, right? What if the idea is really that, what if being a housekeeper is not that bad? And what if being the principal housekeeper is really not that negative? Just like with the servant in the John Steinbeck novel. What if it's really a good position, Because one of the other debates that people might have is, I'd rather have profit than wages, right? That's what you say, proletariat, blah, blah, blah. But like wages are secure. Wages are guaranteed. Until you get fired, you're getting a wage, right? Profit is not guaranteed. You know, if you sell widgets, or gizmos, whatever, and then the gizmos go out of fashion, it depends on how much you invested, but you could lose everything. It's like the people who buy, like they put all their money into buying PS5s, and then they say, oh, PS5 is defected, and there's a newer model, don't get the older model, then all of the money that they put into that is gone. So anyway, long story short, what I'm saying is it's really possible. No, it really is difficult to write on the subject because most people are going to reject the subject. They're going to say, why are you talking about women's work, women, blah, blah, blah. But on the other hand, it's really a question that we really should confront. Is it that bad to have an allowance? Is it that bad to have fixed wages? Is it that bad to just clean the house, or just have one expectation, a few responsibilities, and get free sex on the side? Right? If free house and free sex, is it that bad? Like, I don't know. Anyway, that's all I can say. Hopefully, you guys could check in. I'll be writing this book later.